After looking at the overview of the software system in a computer system, we will now focus on the system software part of based on our overview. So basically, when we talk about system software, we are also talking about operating systems and the connected utilities to it. So the basic operating systems functions or system software functions would include perform common hardware functions. Number two, provide a user interface. Number three, provide hardware independence. Four, memory management. Five, task management. Six, control access to system resources. And seven, file management. We will discuss each of these functions in details in the next slides. It starts with the role of the operating systems within the system software, as it also interfaces with hardware. So if we look at the overview, on the left side, for instance, facing the screen, you look at that these are users, and on the leftmost side is the hardware component. So if we look at, there are two major software components that is identified here, the application software and the operating and system software, or we call this operating system, or just called is the system software. So looking at the role of operating system or the system software that we are talking about, this is closely related to the hardware. As shared earlier, that operating system somehow are the components of a software that controls the hardware part. That means it's the only software that interacts with the hardware. In the overview as a user, we are actually interacting directly with the application software and sometimes on the operating systems before it will be interfaced with hardware. So basically, although we are interacting with the hardware components, but those hardware components are capturing our interface, such as the mouse or keyboard, capturing as part of the application software or the system software so that the hardware can manipulate it and perform what we want. So first functions is to perform hardware functions and provide a user interface. So a common hardware functions would have include accept keyboard input, store data on disk, and send data to output devices. So these are the common hardware function connected to our system software or operating systems. That means the system software or our operating systems is capable of accepting the keyboard input from us and responsible for the appropriate action to be made at the hardware part and hardware part so that it can also be displayed as part of the output devices as a response from our interaction with the computer. So the second part is store data on disk. That means if we want to store our data in a specific hardware or in a hard disk or in a USB where we want to retrieve it for future use. So those functions basically is we are interacting with the operating systems directly with interface with hardware. A second component is provide user interface type. That's a command-based interface and graphical user interface. So what are the two main interface? Command-based interface is wherein you will give instruction by inputting text-based data to your computer so that it will respond to. So this is not a very common, as of in practice, this is not a common interface, but normally done by um, IT professionals wherein we put commands so that the system would respond appropriately based on our commands. The most common interface now with the user is the graphical user interface. Most of the operating systems or the application software is now accepting input from a graphics or a certain button or a certain text where you capable of clicking it to indicate that that particular function would be supporting the user interaction. Third is hardware independence. The idea of hardware independence is that any software can be used a particular hardware, meaning even if we have different software, it can be it can use the same hardware. So for example, if our hardware need not to be replaced even if we will install a new software to our computer. That means the design of the computer hardware is independent of the computer software. more particularly on the application level. It is also common practice that computer system hardware is connected directly with the operating systems, meaning if you bought a certain hardware, an operating system is already installed to it so that it can interact directly with the hardware. So meaning your application software or the system to be developed on top of your operating system would be an application software wherein you as a user can install as many application software, but you don't need to replace the hardware components. Example, your cell phone. Your cell phone is a computer system wherein the hardware will always be the same, but you can always replace the application part of it. Although it's also not possible, or there are techniques, but in general there are it's impossible or it's difficult for us to run a different operating system given a certain hardware. So for instance, if you have an Android phone, yeah, it's difficult for you to install a Mac operating system because this particular system software is linked already to the hardware. So the idea of hardware independence is that you can install any application software using the same system software and the same hardware. That's the principle used in the software systems. Next is the memory management. So this is the idea of responsibility of your system software in interacting with your application software at the same time in the hardware. So an example of operating system controlling physical access to data, the user prompts the application software for specific data. The operating system translates this prompt into instruction for the hardware, which finds the data the user requested. Having successfully fully completed this task, the operating system then relays the data back to the user via a certain application software. So the memory management illustrates how the interaction of various components in the various components that will run during the use of the application software. So you can also see later support for memory management, but we are opening different applications at the same time while using the computer. So it is the responsibility of the operating system to identify which item to display, which software to display, so that um, at at the side of the user, it appears smoothly or seamlessly without thinking of how your operating system interact with your hardware. So the memory management gives the responsibility to the operating systems to track or to interface with the application software to be able to identify particular applications and correctly store it in appropriate places in your hardware. Remember that the memory management happens at the hardware level in in interaction with your operating system or OS, or in general the system software. So from the user side, you will not think of which particular location in the hardware where your data is being stored. What you can remember is at the application level or the OS layer. That means you will create some folder to allocate spaces for a particular file, but in reality, you are not aware which particular hardware those software application or the data that you are running in a in a software application within the hard disk or the storage area of your computer. Another is that if you're opening multiple applications at the same time, you will not see data overlapping over various applications. So it's the responsibility of your operating system to identify which memory and which application is being run and which application is being opened and which application is to be hidden from the interface of the user. Okay, next, the task management. Because from the perspective of the user, we have different tasks, and the computer must do normally how the user can use it. So one principle would be multitasking. More than one program can run at a time using a single processor. Even if your computer has a single processor, or it's common, the iCore 3, for example, which might have two processor. Your iCore 5, for example, might have three processor. So, but before, even if you have one processor, your computer is responsible to perform multiple tasks. And what happens to that is the operating system or your system software handles this multiple task and allow the performance of each task within the hardware. So there are various mechanisms in your operating system will function as if you're doing at the same time. You're opening software or you're performing tasks at the same time. Another is time sharing. Multiple users can simultaneously use the resources of a single processor. And the mechanism would be between the hardware and the system software. And scalability, easy adaptation to more users or tasks, because if you can think of this is part of the function of the operating systems. Control access to system resources, it follows protection against unauthorized access, login, and password. So it's part of the responsibility of your operating system to ensure that a particular user would only access the data which is intended for them. So for instance, even if there are two or more users in the computer, if you have noticed, if a different user will log in at the same time, log in, if you can see, for example, in your the management of your operating system on your Windows, even if you store a documents in your document file, if you log out and another user will log in, though the items you save will not be visible with the other user. That would be that functionality is supported by your system software part. Although there are certain applications that interact with your OS, but in general, control access to the system resources is managed by your system software, no, including login and password. And you might be surprised that your operating system is actually saving your login credentials, meaning your password. That's the reason why your operating system can recall what is your password. The question now in terms of cybersecurity, that means can anyone get or extract that password where your operating system actually saved that password? If you have recall, many of the applications would ask you, or your browser will ask you if you want to save the password for future use. And that one reason is your password will be encrypted and saved somewhere in a certain location of your operating systems. And the one responsible who can access this particular item would be your username also. That's the reason that you might it's difficult also for other users to access your password. So if somehow we have some operating system mentioned before supporting various levels in the organization, but here we can look at also various operating system supports various levels in the organization. So we can still classify personal, work group, and enterprise, but there is what we call a consumer part, but the basic support of the previous operating system, particular Windows OS or even Linux, would support these three or four groups. Example, Windows 98 was designed for personal use and not intended for work group, meaning if you want to connect your computer to another computer, it would not be good for a Windows 98 to support that functionality. And the worst is the enterprise. The Windows NT operating system support personal, but the software that supports your team is the work a Windows NT server, and the enterprise also the same Windows NT server. For Windows 2000, for example, we have Windows 2000 server and Windows Advanced Server for enterprise, and it can also accommodate Windows NT in reality and Windows 2000. Windows ME was designed for personal, and Windows XP or Experience was can support already enterprise level even if you are at or even if it support the personal. The Mac OS is designed for personal, but Mac OS X and server would support a work group. And of course, Unix is supporting all levels. For some Solaris software, Solaris also for Sun Solaris, it supports Linux. Then Red Hat Linux, you can see how others. And if you can check the last part, the consumer side is actually parang it, it it supports a certain embedded software for mobile devices. That's why we has been the CE, Packet PC, Handheld PC, and Palm OS are designed for consumer. That means it's the at that time it normally that the software or the operating system is designed to support mobile devices. So these are some of the version of Windows, if you will check the various operating systems. So there are types of operating systems. After looking that, we can check the workgroup operating system, the enterprise operating systems, and the third one would be consumer appliance operating system, which is commonly implemented within mobile devices. And utility programs, these are programs um, deployed in partnership with the operating system. Many of the operating system is paired with utility programs because it's hard also to use the operating system itself. So a utility program is embedded within your system software so that your system software would function as intended by the user. So for example, at a personal level, software to compress data so that it takes less hard disk space are part of the personal utility programs, while workgroup software to support provide details reports of workgroup computer activity and status of user account. This is for connected computers. An enterprise would be archive and display. Screensaver is a function of is a utility programs for personal software, and virus detection software is considered also as personal level. Although there are virus detection will support work group, but normally installed individually. For work group, there are also software that manages an uninterruptible power source to do a controlled shutdown of the work group computer in the event of a loss power. So these are example of software that will handle group wherein of course there is a certain computer that will control the other computers, and also software that reports unsuccessful user logon attempts. So that means if your computer is connected to one another, there might be a software installed monitoring who are the users that attempted to log in but failed many times. For enterprise, there are also software to archive contents, of course. Then the second one would be software that compares the content of one file with another and identifies any differences. So this is part of enterprise software. That means the Turnitin, for example, software can be considered enterprise, and in fact, it's considered part of the global community wherein your data or your file can be compared and matched with other data saved within the enterprise data. And lastly, software that reports the status of a particular computer job. This is part of the monitoring. Okay, so that's it for the utility, for the operating systems and related utilities.